was a recent posting by All City NBA noting that Charlotte has had the biggest improvement in the half court in terms of points per possession. So while
Mhm.
they're not this like high powered offense that is doing it like Miami does, they have still made improvements, and we're kind of talking about it right now with the way that they're set up. I think you talk about spacing because I think spacing is something that you could probably define in a couple different ways. You would almost assume by having a center in the dunker spot that spacing would be more clogged, but I almost would make the argument that last year because spacing your big to the wing on the weak side actually made it more clogged because the defense would have to not would have to, but they would kind of go down into the paint knowing that they didn't have to respect that guy out there on the wing.
Yeah.
And so that's why the Hornets would use that as like an extra screener on the weak side. So I would almost make the case that the way that they're set up now creates more spacing for the
It,
Hornets. So
it does. I mean, like it's again, it's like it there's no like right or wrong way to necessarily do this. You're just trying to like pick the thing that like makes the most sense with your personnel. But having the five in the dunker spot as opposed to the wing opens up a gap, right? Because that the opposing center is not going to be at the elbow or like in sort of like the defensive like slot area, right? Like
mm-hmm.
they're going to be, yes, they're going to be like between the ball and the rim, but they're going to be much further back. They're going to be deeper in the lane. And therefore you've got that extra gap that's opened up. You've got when they play the way that they normally do, and they've got that sort of like they've got three guys lined up along the baseline with the five in the dunker spot. You got two shooters in the corner, and then you've got,
Con.
Khan setting a screen or Sion setting a screen, and then it's Trey Mann or LaMelo or Sexton. I mean, those guys can work as screeners too, but those guys handling the ball. You've got three guys along the baseline, two in the middle of the floor. There's no like third help defender, right? That's like right in the picture. You get to just work 2-on-2, and if you turn the corner, then the help defense either has to come from the corner, right? And you can kick it out to the corner, or the help has to come with the center stepping up, and then you've got the five open in the dunker spot,
Yep.
presumably. Like that's in theory, that's what they're going for. Man, I really wish I had a second Spectrum account because I would have loved to I'd love to have these numbers readily available. All City NBA tweeted out this was, I think, through the first 11 games of the season, because it was like tweeted out during the midst of the Hornets Bucks game the other night. And
Yeah, it was going into the Thunder game. So I think it
yeah,
I think it might have been after. Well,
okay,
yeah.
okay. This is probably after. So then, but maybe through the first 12 games, then the
Right.
Hornets had set the Hornets guards had set 707 on ball picks. That's an average of over 60 per game. It's most in the NBA by a ton, right? And it's way above where they were last season. I don't know how, like, if double drag action with where a guard is slipping out. I'm not
Yeah.
sure like how that's being quantified into this, or if these are just straight up like, Sexton screens for LaMelo, Khan screens for Trey Mann. Like I'm not entirely sure about that. Again, I wish I had a second Spectrum account because, like Richie, I feel like we've been on top of this for about 6 weeks now, talking about sort of like the scheme changes with the offense, and we just don't have access to that type of that type of data, and we're not hand charting those types of numbers, unfortunately, either. Just don't have the time or the manpower to do it. But very cool. Like, again, cool to see. Certainly, sometimes it's really nice when numbers confirm whatever bias you had. But if you watch this team play for multiple games in a row, you realize how big a piece of it's not the entire offense. They do different stuff, but that really is like the base setup, is this sort of like 1-4 flat. They bring a guard to the middle of the floor as a screener and then play out of it.
Yep.
And it's not perfect, but I think it's given them a good base this season, and even it's allowed them to keep playing their system even while they've had guys miss time too.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to this guard screening. The gravity, especially when LaMelo is the ball handler and he's healthy, it just puts the defense in a bind because a lot of times when they run that 1-4 flat ball screen at the nail or up at the top of the key, you're going to have a lot of guys show to LaMelo, and you're going to have that short roll available. And this is where having the guy in the dunker spot is pretty beneficial, and you have that 4-on-3 situation.